I love you.
Well, folks, ladies and men, we're glad to have you here again. And so please, why don't you just come on in and sit with us here on the couch. I'm your host, the Green Traveler from Gorsh.
And I am the Faceless Leon. This is Green and Faceless on the Couch. This is a movie and TV review show. And I think that your new character here is going to have me press to the audience an ultimatum.
Ooh.
Yeah. I haven't decided what the choices are in that ultimatum, but
is it a Bourne ultimatum?
It is
a death
born
ultimatum
and ripe of potential to be extreme and painful and lethal.
Oh shit!
Yes.
All birth on this character.
That's right.
All I do is give myself a stream overbite and then just talk. Just put the teeth out there and go for it.
Oh, I don't know if I can do it.
Hey, that character is not as annoying as the shaky cam, is it?
No, it's not
yourself.
as annoying as the shaky cam. I will agree with that because it, at the very least, does not make me want to vomit.
Well, that's good. If you could see it, maybe that's the ultimatum. Should we do face cam from now on so they could see me doing the voice?
Are we going to start using face cam? In the comments, you answer, and then you get to see what I saw.
Yeah. And if the answer is yes, we should use face cam, then I'm going to implore all of you to head on over to patreon.com/greenandfaceless on the couch. Wait.
Nope.
Is it just no? Patreon.com/greenandfaceless.
That's right.
And there you will find many tiers that you can sign up for, join, become a true couch potato if you wish to help us out, or if you just like the show. You can also just comment on many different websites, Apple Podcast and Patreon, everywhere. There's many places you can comment. But yeah, all of that helps us out. If we get enough people who pitch some money in and we're able to afford cameras, and maybe we'll look into face cam. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? We'll see what we can accomplish in the future. And then you can make this the lowest we're asking for is $2 a month. If you got $2 in your pocket and you think this show is at least worth that in production value.
I mean, hey, if you think it's worth, that, that's what was it? What was the math we did on it? 25 cents an episode per month.
It's 25 cents an episode. Yeah,
a quarter for our 2 cents. That's totally worth it.
Yeah. So, and with that, you get a vote in our monthly potato pick episode. Thank you, potatoes. We love you. We'll stop plugging the Patreon now.
We'll never stop plugging the Patreon. But for this
I just meant this episode, yeah. So the Bourne Ultimatum.
Oh yeah, baby. Here we are.
The Bourne Ultimatum.
You want me to go away at it?
Yeah.
At the try to summarize what's going on here.
It's teed up. It's ready to go. You're in first grade. You're bat happy. Boy.
I'm in first grade.
Swing away. I don't know. I'm just referencing T-ball.
Oh, gotcha. I thought for a second you were going with the car reference, and I was like, did he mean first gear? I'm ready, Dad. I took it out of park. Here we are, the third Bond film. Jesus, here we are, the third Bourne film. Oh man,
yeah,
it's
I gotta love your
JBs. It's like all entertainers out there are really just trying to piss off people with dyslexia. It's like, how can we make this uber annoying? It's like Super Spy Man.
I want to do. I feel like, though, the guy who wrote this novel,
Robert Ludlum.
Yeah, I feel like he was like, you know what? I want to do James Bond, but I can't do James Bond. But what if James Bond lost his memory? Oh, that's good.
That's real good. That's real good. But see, apparently the thing is, too, again, I have the books. I've never read them. I've read half of the first one and just could not. But he goes more, apparently, this is just from what I've read on the internet, he, in the books, goes by his real name of David Webb. And he is just like, when he's brought back into the spy world, I guess, is when he becomes Jason Bourne. I mean, the first one he has lost his identity, but I guess he recovers that maybe in between the books. I don't know. It's interesting. If you've read the books out there, definitely talk to us about it in the comments, because I'm very intrigued, but I'm not going to be able to read them ever. But and I think the third one here, the third book and the third movie, I think it's a similar thing as the second one, where they just took the title and loosely the story. And here, the story it's written by three people: Tony Gilroy, Scott Z. Burns, and George Nolfi. Tony Gilroy wrote the original script and dropped from the project because he had co-written the first two scripts, and he was kind of mad because the second film, he had apparently written this important emotional aspect of Jason Bourne's character, which was he doesn't want to be a killer. It was he had put a lot of heart into this character apparently in the second script that was just removed.
Yeah, there
wasn't. I could see
that. I mean, that movie was very bare bones. It was just action scenes, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. It was just an action spy film, and it was for what it was. It's fine, I guess. You know, you can watch our review on that. We were both kind of bored with it.
I didn't like it at all, really.
Yeah, and with the third one, I think it's a touch better, but he didn't stay on this project because of how he felt about them deheartening his character, because he wanted this character to have more emotional conflict with the art of killing, because as a spy, you know, he has to kill a lot. And in the second one, he wanted him to be very much about I don't want to be a killer anymore. I don't want to be a spy anymore. I just want to be this guy. And that is what the third one is about. Apparently, they stuck more with his script here.
Okay. Yes, yeah, that is what's going on here. I feel like this particular episode in this trilogy probably was like, I don't feel like it needed to happen. In fact,
I don't think any of these films needed to happen.
That is fair. That is fair. But in the second one, like, he loses Marie, and that could have been like a really good story, but it just was bare bones Jason Bourne kicking ass stuff.
Right. Yeah.
This one, like, at the end of that movie, like, he got them to agree to leave him alone, pretty much.
Right.
And then in this movie, I can't honestly remember how Jason Bourne got back involved with these people.
You know, I can't either. It's a lot of this is a spy film, but it's more intriguing, so I'm still paying attention.
Right.
But the basic plot of it, like what gets him involved, I just can't remember. It's like there's somebody new at it's not Treadstone. He hears the words Blackbriar. Like somebody attacks him or whatever, and in that process he hears about Blackbriar, which is the successor of Treadstone, which is the organization that he was part of as a spy and everything. And he's having these strong flashbacks throughout of the of like his first ever like induction into Treadstone. I can't remember. It's with Dr. Albert Finney. I love Albert Finney. Like, he is an amazing actor.
He plays Albert Hursk, Dr. Albert Hursk, so he got to keep his first name.
Nice. I mean, we know and love him from Big Fish. Like, we've already talked about that. He is just a beautiful actor, and it's fun to see him play this, like, sinister business villain. You know, he's just a head of a spy organization who's trying to keep cover of the Treadstone agents and what they did with these people. And I'm sorry. It's like, I know people want to know the plots, but I can't remember the plot too well of this. There's a recurring assassin who's trying to kill Matt Damon, or kill Jason Bourne, I mean.
His name is like Vesh or something.
Yeah, and they have like 4 or 5 face-offs. Maybe it's just 3, but it's like, that is the recurring thing, is he's trying to expose Treadstone and Blackbriar in a way, and at the same time survive the numerous amount of people who are coming after him. You know, you got what's her face from the last one, who was head of the Pam Landy. Thank you,
Joan Allen. She is brought in on this situation that involves Jason Bourne, and heading it is the NSA guy Noah Vosen, played by David Strathairn. And I know we've talked about David before. and I still didn't remember how to say his name, but I really enjoy him as an actor. He's good and he's great in this role, but I'm not going to say Noah is my favorite character. He is definitely charged with covering up this Blackbriar stuff. Eventually, Jason figures that out, and with the help of the return of Nikki Pearson's, Julia Stiles' character, he tries to figure that out. She also kind of just appears in the movie, I feel like.
Yeah, they didn't really use her much either.
No.
She has a much better role than the few times she's appeared.
Right.
Because again, every time she appears, it's only for a few minutes in this franchise, it seems.
Right.
But here, she has a much more involved role, but it is still very small. Smaller than I would like it to be.
Yeah, and I don't know how to talk about what the movie is about without giving away the twists and stuff. Furthermore, I mean, just the plot part. There's parts of this movie that I definitely want to talk about. We might as well start with the Julia Stiles stuff. So I don't think it spoils the plot too much to spoil that she reveals that her and Bourne used to be in a relationship before everything went tits up in the first movie. Jason doesn't remember any of it, / David.
Right.
And he says as much. She's like, you really don't remember anything? And he's like, no. I thought that was very interesting. They don't seem to get together at the end, but Nikki does have this ending shot thing, whatever.
And I'm glad that they don't get together because that would just feel weird. Because he doesn't remember the relationship they had, and the only relationship he knows of having with her is him yelling at her practically to leave him alone.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So she basically how she reveals this is just expressing how hard it was for her.
Yeah.
And you kind of get it through subtext. I don't think she flat out says, "Yeah, we used to bone, dude."
Right. But thinking about it too, it's got to be. It adds to her performance of the last two movies. Because I completely forgotten this aspect, and looking back at it, the last two movies, you're like, oh, that's why she seems so, just kind of weird in the moment, because she seems scared, but it also seems like there's something beneath her fear. And now we know what that something is, and it's like, oh man, that really just makes it a much more intriguing performance. But I don't really want to go back to the last two films to just watch it for that.
They're not worth it for Julia Stiles' performance. I'm sorry, Julia.
She does great, but it's yeah.
Yeah, you do just fine. Well, yeah, like you said, also they don't really utilize her that much. The only female character. Okay, that's not true. I feel like Pam Landley is used pretty well in both films. But
Pam's a really great character.
For his love interest characters, they only did it with Marie, right? That's she was an actual character, I feel like. Mm-hmm. While Nikki is kind of just like an information bridge.
But to stand back from that too, I want to applaud this film for not feeling like, again, James Bond always has to be, that spy film with a bit of eye candy. There's got to be a model in there somewhere. He's got to have 3 different love interests throughout the whole movie. Mm-hmm. So I want to step back and be like, hey, spy film with the Jason Bourne name. Applause. You didn't make your man a womanizer. He is just a dude trying to survive.
Right.
And I like that. That makes it a much more intriguing film. And a more intriguing character, I guess, rather.
Right.
But yeah, I do wish they had done more with those story elements. Include Nikki, include their past more, include what occurred between them, how she's feeling about everything going on. There's a lot more elements here, and I feel like being a spy film, they're just afraid to approach that more human element.
Maybe I don't know. They could have the whole point, I'll say, of this movie. I feel like could have landed harder if they would have leaned into it a little bit more, what you're talking about. As it stands, I still think it's a pretty good end for an action series.
And too bad they had to go on for 2 more. Yeah. But while I say too bad, we might go to them and find them very intriguing.
I have no idea. This is the last one that I have watched before Green and Faceless existed.
Right. And I watched both of them. I do not at all remember Jason Bourne, the 5th one. I know I've seen it. I remember nothing about it. And with the Bourne, what is it, Legacy or whatever that Jeremy Renner's in, I've seen it once. I saw it in theaters. I remember not liking it. So it's going to be very entertaining because I come back and just completely next week be like, or not next week. We're taking a break next week.
That's right. That's right. We're taking this Thanksgiving week off from broadcasting. You can expect a cross feed from our sister show, The Adventures in Valagorn. I hope you enjoy that.
Yes.
And then Thanksgiving, we will just be off. And we hope that you guys enjoy the holiday with your family and or friends. And
you can always go to our numerous catalog and pull up an episode, any old episode, and just rewatch one of your favorites or whatever. That'd be really nice.
That would be nice. And then if you like it or don't like it, you can, you know what? We want honesty. That's what we want here. If you like it or don't like it, you can go to Apple Podcasts or whatever you can comment on and tell us. Like, rip us a new one. Rip us a new one with kindness or hatred. Oh, yeah, okay, nicely, yes.
Yeah, we do I would suggest, if you want us to follow up on your critical feedback, which that is 100% something we definitely want and need is critical feedback. But if you propose it to us nicely, that's going to be the easiest way for us to be like, oh, that's a really good idea, rather than hey, fuck you. So
yeah. Like if we get hurt feelings about it, then it's probably not going to change because we're probably going to get just defensive about it. And then a couple months later, we're going to be like, oh, remember what that guy said? Yeah.
Well, yeah. A couple months later, we'll try to incorporate it in our own idea. We'll like inception ourselves.
It'll
be like, no.
So it'll get there. So if you got to be hateful, whatever.
But in the week after next, it's very possible that I'll be coming at you with a lot of love for Jeremy Renner's The Bourne film.
Yeah, who knows?
I'm not expecting it. But this was, as you said, this was a good end to an action trilogy in a way. It's again, I don't think any of these films needed to happen, but this one incorporates so many elements of the first two films while actually focusing on a character that it's very intriguing. Even if I'm not really paying attention to the plot, if I don't even give two shits about what's going on, there are many scenes that are very entertaining. And I'm a comic book lover. I'm always going to be rooting for a hero who is like, I do not want or need to kill to win.
Right.
And that's the Bourne ultimatum he doesn't want to be a spy anymore. He is at this end point in his life, or this crossroads in his life, where he's like, I am not this man you made. You find out in his flashbacks, or he's seeing in his flashbacks, that he volunteered for all of this. He wanted to be this super soldier spy guy. But when he lost his memory, he's a new guy now. Even if he still has all of these skills and everything, he is not that man.
He's neither David Webb nor Jason Bourne.
Exactly. He's John Doe, and he wants to have that identity. He just wants to be free of all this, and that's what he's fighting for throughout this entire film. And it's very entertaining to watch him fight for it because he has a lot of great scenes, like scenes where he's chasing. I don't remember who the villain or the assassin he's fighting.
His name is Desh. I found him. I thought it was Vesh, but it's Desh. And it's played by Joey Ansa.
Joey Ansa. And he's very enjoyable as this other assassin. And they bring home this theme that's been... What was that?
Doesn't have very many lines, but a couple of them that he have I thought were a better scene in the movie, for sure.
But he does have a developing arc, and I really enjoyed that because... And it brings in a developing arc conclusion for the entire trilogy so far, because starting with Clive Owen, the professor, way back in movie 1, he's like, why do we do this? Why are we fighting? Like, why do we just go out and be pawns for these people and then just get shot? We have our own lives. He's like, I'm happy being a teacher. He doesn't say all this stuff verbatim.
He just dies.
But he just dies. But this is he does have a monologue, and I don't know if you noticed, but in that monologue, Jason Bourne actually uses some of those lines and tells them to Desh in this film. Because 3 times, I want to say it's 3 times because that just seems like the right number, but but it's possible as many more times. Him and Desh come across each other and they fight. Right. They have these action moments. Jason eventually bests Desh each time and then walks away without killing him. And Desh, whose sole order is kill Nikki and kill Jason.
Right.
Yeah, he's given both of these faces and he's just like, I gotta kill these people. He is so just rocked that this guy has had him at gunpoint, helpless, each time and just won't do it. And you get to the spoilers for the end of it here, but you get to the end and he finally has Jason just, completely, Jason wasn't paying attention and he has a gun on him. And Jason like turns over and he looks at Desh and Desh is just standing there with a gun. And then he just can't do it. Desh is like, why haven't you done this? That you're so, he's like, I'm going to kill you. Why haven't you killed me? And it was a nice moment. It was just something I wasn't expecting from these kind of films to have this kind of an arc. And I do appreciate that. That's really, but I feel like they should have done more with it. They should have embellished it more.
Right. I like what Jason said, though. It was a good one-liner. Do you even know why they want you to kill me?
Exactly. They're just being used.
Yeah.
It's good.
It's I will say a much better film than the second one. I don't know if I like it more than the first one just because I like Marie. Like Marie brings a really good element to the story. And she actually is a decent character. Like there obviously is some remnants of the patriarchy, I guess, from the, whatever our lens was for the early 2000s, though, I feel like it was rather progressive.
She was a good character in that. And that identity arc, too, is nice because it's like it just lends a lot to the tale. Yeah, this movie's still missing that because this movie is still very much more spy than mystery intrigue.
Right. This is like, how can I get the better of my opponent? And there are some really good moments of that. I really like that they brought back in that conversation from Supremacy into this between Pam Landy and Jason Bourne. That was pretty good. Yeah. Because, you as the audience, if you had seen that movie, know what they're referencing and know that they're up to something. And it's pretty interesting, the double talk. There's a lot of a lot more subtext in this movie, I think, than the other ones, too.
Yeah, and I think, though, that's why I don't like spy films. Is I like to analyze films, and I like to analyze television when I watch and everything like that, but I'm not good at it. And unless it's, like, very blatant with its symbolism or its metaphors, or that was the other thing, was we did Over the Garden Wall last Thursday, and I was saying metaphor a lot. And when I was editing it, I was like, why am I saying metaphor? These are all symbols. Symbolism. Oh man, I was like, damn it, this guy. But I'm more into the stuff that because I'm not the brightest, I'm not the brightest bulb in the box. I need a little bit more up front.
You're a beautiful green bulb.
Oh, thank you. Oh yeah. But where all the subtext, though, it kind of gets swept under my mental rug. It's like not that I have a toupee, but it's just that it just but it just gets lost in the ether for me. It's like I notice it, but I have to watch it a few more times to fully be like, oh, that's why they're doing this,
Right.
But there are a lot of references in this movie. It makes a lot of callbacks to that first film.
It does.
Like, Nikki cutting her hair.
Yeah. She cut her hair exactly like they cut Marie's hair.
Yeah, it was like the exact same scene, except they didn't make out at the end.
Right. And they didn't do the actual hey, I'm dyeing your hair part. They just kind of walked out and it was done. And I was like, okay, that's the same haircut. And then I was like, that's a little weird that he gave her the same haircut. And then I realized, oh, that's the only haircut that Jason Bourne knows how to give.
It's true. It most likely is true, man. There's even the action scenes too are kind of a callback because that running across the roof thing, it ends with him jumping through a window, which I think happened in the first one. Yeah,
I remember him jumping through a window.
I think somebody jumped through a window at him. I think.
Oh yes, I think
he was
the first
inside.
assassin that attacked was it Michael Kang's apartment, or was it Jason Bourne's? It doesn't matter. That first assassin jumped through the window.
Michael Caine was in the first one?
No, it's not Michael Caine. One of his aliases is
Gotcha,
like
I know what you're talking about. Yeah. I know where you're going with it. I was like, damn, they had Michael Caine, and then my second thought was like, do they have Michael Caine's apartment in this? Like, I'm sure the dude's got plenty of them.
Yeah, I mean, no, it was in France. It could have been. He could have an apartment in France. Who knows?
It just seems weird because I like the circular storytelling. I love when you do callbacks. I love when you bring your story home, when you have your arcs complete and all that kind of stuff. But I couldn't tell if they were like callbacks, if they were like, because it's a trilogy, or if it was like, we don't know what to do. Quick, throw elements of the other two films in. we gotta pad this and get it to 2 hours. It's only an hour and 15.
Oh shit. Well, I don't know. I think it made it a better movie. So
yeah,
I don't know if
I
I'll
do too.
Call it padding or not, but maybe it is a cheap trick. I don't know.
It felt weird sometimes when like the dialogue with, reusing the professor's dialogue when talking to Dash. Love that. That's great.
That was a good scene.
I guess it really was just the hair one that really just kind of bothered me, where they just cut her hair. Yeah. And I'm just like, why is this? And I guess maybe to imply the relationship angle, maybe. I don't know. It felt really weird.
It did feel weird. Like they were paralleling her to a completely different character because she's part of the system. And Marie was just a random person that Bourne happened to run into.
There's 2 more things I want to talk about.
Yeah.
So one is the biggest negative. It's been the same negative we've had for the last 2, specifically for the last film. The first one had it too, but not as bad. And I will agree with you. We talked a little bit before, Mike. This one isn't as bad as the second one, but the damn shaky cam.
I hate it.
Is just as infuriating in this film because this film has great action scenes.
It does.
The choreography is beautiful, and you can tell the choreography is beautiful. But so many times the shaky cam doesn't capture it, and it's just like, God, these damn stunt workers put so much fucking work and so much body into this, and you're just gonna be shaking all over. I want to see the action. I want to see it.
Yeah, I don't get it. I really don't get it, and I think the trend is fading. 15 years later, but
Taken did so horribly that I think people were like, "Ooh, maybe shaky action's not good." They don't want to see 6 different angles of Liam Neeson jumping over a fence.
So,
not kidding, man.
There was one particular scene that really bothered me with the shaky cam because I was paying attention to it because in the last film, it legit made me nauseous. I don't recall actually getting nauseous in this film. I think they toned it down a little bit. However, there's one particular scene. Now, I want to talk about what you mentioned before we started the recording as well. But there's one particular scene where there was this car accident. And I thought the shaky cam made sense for the actual crash. But it kept shaking for like 10 seconds after everything else was still. Like everything in the shot was still and the camera is still shaking. It totally brought me out of the scene. I was like, okay, now this camera is shaking. There's no reason why it should be shaking.
Yeah.
Like if they did some kind of like computer assisted thing where like a hubcap flew off and then they were acting like they were on the hubcap, maybe that'd be something.
Yeah.
But it was nothing. It really just irritated me.
Yeah. Really kind of bad. Like in the Fast and the Furious films where like when somebody gets hit, the camera flies or circles or spins with the person who was hit.
Right.
Like, that's fine. That's good action camera scene. But yeah, just shaking for no goddamn reason.
No reason. The crash was over.
I think the technical reason was I think they were zoomed in to film the crash site. Like I think they were far enough away to not get hurt. I mean, I can't remember the scene. I know which scene you're talking about. I can't remember the visual of it, but like I know it bothered me too because I was like, okay, cut something, like get out of this shot.
So there was a couple helicopter scenes where they were super zoomed in, and then they would zoom out and like expect the focus to just be there, and it was that really bothered me too. There was something about the shaky cam that you mentioned though for the over the shoulder shots.
Yes, the dialogue scenes in particular really pissed me off. Like, so if you're going to be committed to shaky cam, you can not use shaky cam still, when doing dialogue scenes. Just put them on a tripod. Like, there's no reason to not have a tripod with you and to not set the camera down for a fucking dialogue scene. But, like, during the dialogue scenes, and there's a lot of these, there are so many of them in this film, where it is your standard setup for a dialogue scene. You have one person facing another person. They're face to face. And the camera is typically over the shoulder of the listener. Mm-hmm. When you're doing a scene, so it's like you'll be able to see the person talking, or you'll be able to see the listener reacting. Those are your options, and the camera's over the shoulder of one person, and then you'll just cut to the opposite shoulder for the other person. You know, you gotta keep that line of 180 degree. And this movie, 90% or 80%, somewhere around there, is 80 to 90% of the screen. 83% of the screen is shoulder. You can barely see over the shoulder of this person, and it's still shaking. You can see the quivering of the cinematographer, and he's holding it as still as possible, but he still has to breathe. He still has to breathe, damn it. And he can't see a damn thing over the shoulder. And I remember, like, I do remember seeing this in theaters. Mm-hmm. I don't remember if it's actually an Ultimatum, or if this kind of shit continues on into Legacy or Jason Bourne. But I remembered seeing films like this in the theaters, though, where most of the screen is shoulder. You know how annoying that is? It's a giant fucking screen, and I'm looking at the top right corner just to see the fucking face talk.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Good. No, I mean, there is a high concept film where that could work, but, like, not with the shaky cam as well. Like, if you want to do, like, an artsy shot where you're just barely seeing a person, okay, sure. But, you know, we have to actually be able to see them.
Something. And there's so many scenes in this where you just can't see it. And it was pissing me off. Like, I was literally screaming at my camera where it's just like, tell the fucking dude to hunker down or something. Like, hey, I can't get this camera much higher than right now. I don't know why, but this is the height I have to film at. Can you please just scoot down and sit on your lower back rather than your butt? Yeah. Like, something. Yeah. It's just, it's infuriating. But that was my biggest negative. To get back to the positives, there's one other scene that I wanted to talk about before we do closing statements, because I thought this scene was brilliant. It was so fucking good. And it is when Jason Bourne is trying to direct a journalist through this train station area, and he's doing it over a phone. Like, he walks up real close and slips a phone into this journalist's pocket, and then from a distance, you know, he's wearing a headset with a mic on it, and from a distance he calls the guy, and he is just trying to direct him because he knows that, you know, people are trying to get this guy. This guy has important information. Jason needs this information too, but he wants to keep this guy from dying also. He's a good source, you know?
Right.
And it is the most tense and awesome scene, and almost nothing happens in it but people walking through a crowd. Mm-hmm. And it's all because of how Jason Bourne is delivering these directions to this guy, how he's trying to force this guy to stay calm, right, and to keep focused on the goal.
It's almost disorienting because Jason's so good at judging how to hide in plain sight. Like, he can judge the situation around him. Like, the fucking assassin, Desh doesn't even know that Jason's there to start.
Right, yeah.
And Jason's physically in this crowd directing. The character's name is Simon Ross, played by Paddy Considine. At least I'm pretty sure the picture looks like the guy.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Like you said, it is a very tense moment, and I agree. I think it was one of the better scenes in the series so far.
And it has this like rotating billboard, not billboard, but like advertisement kind of thing where the assassin's hiding behind it, and it's just like window blinds just flicking open and closed, and it just changes the advertisement. But I love that. Like that, it adds a lot of tension, and that was the scene where I was truly riveted by this film, where I was completely paying attention, and nothing's happening but Bourne being like, all right, right now you need to drop to your knee and act like you're tying your shoe.
Yes.
Okay, stand up and run to the exit now. You know, it's just that's all that's going on, and it's just brilliant. It's so good. I love it. But that's the
Bourne
I think that's
Ultimatum.
Mostly.
Yeah.
That's the Bourne Ultimatum. Yeah, I'm ready for closing statements. You want me to go first? You go first?
Yeah. I'll go ahead because you kind of tried to describe the plot. This movie is definitely better than the last one. I've said that several times already. So I give it a face. It's a competent movie. It's still not my favorite movie. I like the first one better, but this has some really good stuff in it, and I think is very much worth watching. But I still don't know what the ultimatum really is. I know you said something along the lines of like whether or not he's going to choose to be a killer or whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't know why it needs to be titled that. I don't know why the last one needed to be titled Supremacy. But here we are.
Right. Yeah, they're definitely just taking the book's names.
Yeah.
I took it as, I'm not sure if I like explicitly said it yet or not, but I took it as the ultimatum was, am I the man who volunteered to be a spy, or am I my own man?
Right.
And that's his ultimatum. That's what he's got to choose. He's like, am I a killer, or am I just David Webb? Which I don't know what name he would actually choose, but David Webb was like his real one, apparently.
That was his birth name, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe. Until Jason Bourne. We'll find out then.
Right, exactly. Or maybe we'll find out Jeremy Renner's. Who knows?
Who the fuck knows?
But I definitely enjoy this a lot more. The action's great. The cinematography is toned down. It's still irritating and frustrating, but it's still there. You know, Paul Greengrass is the director. I think he might have taken some feedback. You know, he might have listened to what people were saying. It's like, okay, I don't need to be so shaky. The roof action scene, brilliant. I love that. That's a lot of fun. You know, Nikki gets to act in a little bit as an action hero too, as she's like running away. That was a lot of fun. The acting all around, like Matt Damon's still killing it as Jason Bourne. Like, dude's a fucking pro. Love it. But all around, I really enjoyed it. I give it 3 stars. I agree with you. I think the first one still is the better one, but this one was very close to that first one. And I'm just realizing also, I just remembered we haven't given Jason Bourne credit for one amazing skill set that he has, and that's turning anything into a weapon or a shield.
True.
Like,
true.
Yeah, he can. I don't remember if it's this film or one of the other ones, but like he picks up a pin and fights a guy with a knife with a pin.
Yeah.
He like uses a pin to. Oh, it's great. The man's a genius at action, and Matt Damon just pulls it all off. So, I recommend it. Also, it's a good one. It's not bad.
Not bad.
More than just an action spy film.
Yes, it is probably. I feel like it's more action spy than the first one, and I'll say it. You know, it's definitely one of the better action spy movies that I've seen. So, there you go.
Agreed.
I think that's our show, right?
Yeah, sure. I'm ready for it to be done.
Yeah, we talked I mean, this is like one of our longer playlist episodes at this point.
Yeah, like, I mean, honestly, if that's the only key factor is, like, we talked 20 minutes about Supremacy, close to 40 minutes on Ultimatum. So you can just go ahead and skip Supremacy. Like,
except for everything that happens in Supremacy that you need to know for Ultimatum.
Read the wiki. I have been lovingly the Green Traveler from Gorsh.
And I have been loathsomely the Faceless Leon. I'm just kidding. Safe travels and good night. Green and Faceless on the Couch is a proud production of FictionWorks 19. If you like the show, please show your support by rating and reviewing us on Apple Podcasts. Like, follow, subscribe, wherever you might listen. We also now have a Patreon account. If you feel so inclined to support us in a financial manner, please become a patron by visiting patreon.com/greenandfaceless. You can also find more information about us on our Facebook account or on the FictionWorks 19 Instagram account. Thank you so much for listening.